And we talk about some other stuff too. We talk a little bit about religion and faith, and a few other things too as well, socialism, And then I did another one where I was interviewed by these wrestlers named Hammond, I think is the Hammond Media Group. It's conspiracy stuff. I was a little worried, man. I was waiting to go on there. There's some video at that one too. I think might do video on the other one. I was waiting to go on there, and I hear these guys talking about flat Earth and all this stuff. And I was saying, "Oh my God, what am I getting into with these guys?" But they were very, very respectful about interviewing me, and asked good, decent, intelligent questions. It didn't go off into any kind of wackiness. And it turns out they just recently interviewed McAfee, John McAfee, the McAfee software, and he's had a very fascinating, interesting life himself. So they just interviewed him, and they interviewed Vinny Panzianza, who was this boxer in the 80s, the Tasmanian Devil, who I was always a big fan of this guy. So they just interviewed these two guys in the past month, and now I'm on this Twitter loop with these guys. Me and John McAfee are going back and forth, so you never know who you're going to meet here in the old Opperman Report land. Okay, hey, last Friday when I was doing the show, I was all nervous and excited because Vic was coming home from college the next night, and so she's been here all week, man, and it's just been so great. I picked her up at the airport Saturday night late. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, so I had to pick her up like midnight. So for me, that was really, I was exhausted. But then even after that, we went out to Roberto's. We got some tacos and stuff, and veggie burritos. And then oh, man. And I got to tell you, she's back now from college. She looks great, and she's doing so good. We just got all her final grades. She's got A's, and she got all A's except for a couple of B's. And we got a 3.45 grade point average. Okay? And she's doing so good. So matured a lot since she's been gone. But I have no worries. I have no complaints. She's just doing so good. And we're having so much fun. And my life is just so different when this kid's back. And we're hanging out and talking and fooling around. So her friend she had a kid here who lived in Vegas who went to her school last year, in D.C. And so then she hooked him up with a friend of hers over there in D.C. And now those two are going out. So her best friend from D.C. came here to Vegas too, to see her boyfriend who lives here in Vegas. So I got to meet her best friend, is the point I'm trying to make. A wonderful kid. And then we're having so much fun and just so much energy and stuff like that. It was just so delightful, the whole thing. Spent the whole day with them yesterday. And it just feels so good to know that she has really good quality friends over there. And she's having a good time. And she's working hard. She's responsible. As a matter of fact, she just made her first payment on her own credit card that she's gotten under her own credit just this afternoon. So, what a kid, man. So she's doing great. Keep that in mind. Now, I tell you, I woke up in the middle of the night last night, and I got this urge to read Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea. Now, I've always been a big fan of Hemingway, and I actually also read, The Sun Also Rises, the story about Pamplona, Spain, the Fiesta de San Fermin. And it inspired me to go to Spain and run with the Bulls. But this book here, The Old Man and the Sea, has always inspired me too as well. I was really absorbed by this book when I read it as a kid. We had to read this stuff, I think, in grammar school. And it's about this old man, hasn't caught a fish in 80 days. And he gets out there and he sees this big marlin, and he hooks it, and then he's holding on to the line with his bare hands, fighting with this marlin for 3 days, and he comes to respect the marlin, and it's a fascinating study of this old seasoned fisherman, and my whole life I've always had great respect for my elders, for people, my seniors, people or elderly people even, and I always take the time to try and learn from them, from their experience, from their life experience and their knowledge or business experience, especially people in the same field as me, you know. When I knew smugglers and nightclub owners and stuff like that, you know, and I would sit at their, you know, feet and listen to what they had to say, you know, and learn from them. Same thing in the beeper company. I can remember when I had the beeper company, I used to have to go to Brooklyn every night after I closed up the shop to drop off the beepers that needed repairs and do some stuff with these guys over there. And, I would always ask them questions. I'd just sit there and ask them questions. Jim and Judy Corey, they ran Metrotone paging company there in Brooklyn. And he was also in the alarm business, too. And a lot of guys in the beeper business were in the alarm business. And I would just ask them questions, you know, as they were sitting there doing little repairs. They had to do whatever they've been doing for me, or picking up the stuff, paying it, whatever. And I would just sit there and learn from them. And one night he said to his wife, he says, "Don't you worry, this guy's picking your brain. He listens to everything you tell him and he's writing it down." You know, this guy's learning, you know, he's learning everything. And that's how I learned how to run a business. I didn't know what I was doing. I don't know anything about beepers, man, cell phones and stuff like that. I didn't know anything. I went there and learned from these guys. They're a great couple. I really love them. Same thing with the PI business, you know. Learning from these old timers and stuff like that, and always show respect, you know. And another thing too is when you're young and you show that kind of respect to someone who's your senior, who's seasoned in the field, in the industry, they recognize it. It's just like I'm old now, you know, and I recognize young men come to me and show me respect and the right kind of attitude, and they recognize that, and I can look in my head right now and remember seeing that look of recognition. That the man sees that I respect him, and I value his life's work and his experience. You know, an old seasoned fisherman, you know. And I remember, by the way, fishermen too. I got a lot of respect for them too. Physical occupation, you know. I had these guys that used to work for me when I was doing the smuggling, and they were tile fishermen. Brutal, physical guys, man. Strong, probably a couple of the strongest guys I've ever met. I remember one time we had to climb over this wall. We were looking at apartments, and we wanted to go check out this house. We were going to rent a house, and we couldn't. You know, we didn't have the key to it. They picked me up and and carried me over the wall. Yeah. You know, and I remember I was going to invest in a fishing boat with these guys. I was going to put up the money for a fishing boat, and they were going to fish the boat there. And my friend told me, you know, you really want to get involved with these guys, you know, to this level, you know, you get in the boat business with them, you know, and then suddenly they don't like paying you your share. You wind up at the bottom of the ocean. I said, you know, you're right, man. I said, what do I think? You know, these guys lure me out there on a boat and I don't come back. That's what I need, right? So anyway, a lot of respect for fishermen, a lot of respect for my elders. You know, and I think that's why I was inspired in my sleep to want to go back and reread The Old Man and the Sea. You know, and especially, you know, he's struggling with this marlin, and he's thinking, you know, at one point he's thinking, boy, you know, this is going to feed so many people in my village. You know, I'm going to make so much money. I'm going to support my family. This is going to be great. And at one point he's thinking, you know what, I have so much respect for this marlin. No one should eat this marlin. This marlin should, you know, go untouched. And he's rowing back. I think it's 3 days or something. The marlin was pulling him deeper and deeper out to the water. And he's rowing his way back, you know. And he finally gets the harpoon. The harpoon was broken. He took an oar and he ties his knife to the oar. And he used the oar and the knife and he harpoons him again. He kills the marlin finally. You know, because he's a seasoned fisherman. You know, he thinks to tie the knife to the oar, and he hooks it up to the side of the boat. He's rowing back triumphant, and these sharks come and eat the whole freaking marlin. You know what I mean? Yeah. Hasn't caught a fish in 80 days. Catches the fish of his life, and the sharks come and eat it. And that's how I feel sometimes. You know. At this stage of my life, you know, what I'm doing, you know, some people are complaining lately, oh, Ed, you're always bragging about this, you're bragging about that. Man, I'm sorry, I'm telling you what I've done in my life, you know. If you're impressed by it, if you think it's bragging, okay, sorry. I'll try to do less. I'll try to accomplish less things in life. That's what I was trying to do. But here I am, I'm working on this stuff now. I'm doing the PI stuff, and I'm in a good place with that. You see, we just picked up this new sponsor. I'm going to be talking about that a lot in the future. Now, the thing is, with my, I guess, the radio show work that I do, like investigating things and reporting it to you on the radio, the investigative reporting. Like we just came up with this stuff about this information about Robert Evans. Like I was able to obtain interviews with Stephen Hoffenberg. I'm able to, professionally work on the Epstein case and then come and talk to you about at least a little bit of what I'm allowed to talk about, all this kind of stuff. The McMartin preschool thing we found out when we found that the ground penetrating radar, the archaeologists who found the hidden room there that was later on confirmed with the document dump with the FBI. All this stuff, Steve Bannon porn in Meth House. The shows I'm proud of, and the work I'm proud of doing here for you. And when I consider doing this work, I consider the audience as my client, And I occasionally have to come to you and ask for support, and hopefully I get some support. Oh, by the way, too, we're having some problems with the member section because we have to switch over from TinyPass to this other company called Pico. So if you do sign up or you're having trouble logging in, just send me an email. I'll send you the temporary password. I know people are getting in there. Some people say they're still having trouble. They can't figure it out. But I know for 100% fact that more people are getting in than have paid for subscriptions. Okay, because I'm using this temporary password and it seems to be getting passed around. All right, but all that's going to end soon. We're going to have it all fixed. Could be definitely by next week, but definitely by the middle of the week too. But we do need your support now, a little bit especially. Because I have this big move coming up, and we have Victoria's next tuition payment coming up, and I just had to come up with $900 for a hard contact lens fitting. I have a keratocoma and astigmatism, so I have a huge medical bill here that I got to cover too as well, and pay for this trip, and pay for the move, and pay for Victoria's tuition. So we are seeking memberships, and you contact me directly at oppermanreport@gmail.com, and I'll give you a membership, 13 months for $65. But that's not what I was getting at. I'm trying to tell you about my life's work here, right? And part of my life's work right now is I'm utilizing the platform of this radio show to, again, get things done and get information so you learn new things. Now, one of the things I've been working on the past year is the story about Ed Buck, right? This West Hollywood gay rights activist who was a big campaign fundraiser for the Democrats in California. All right? So people start turning up dead in this guy's house. Right? You know what I mean? And it's usually these black homeless guys from overdoses and stuff. And it turns out this Ed Buck, man, had a reputation of torturing these guys. He was luring in these men who needed help, and he would lure them in there. And who knows what was going on totally, but there are a lot of dead guys turning up, around this guy. He just got recently arrested. Now, when I first started seeing this happening in the news, hey, one dead guy shows up, what's going on? I start contacting the families of the victims. Contact them and saying, hey, man, you want to come to a radio show? You want to be? Hey, by the way, do you got a lawyer? Do you have a lawyer? Is anybody representing your interest in all this? Let me help you out. I can get you a lawyer, and we'll put together a case. And it was very right away, and especially then after the arrest, I really doubled down. I said, let me get a hold of these people. And I was able to make contact with many people surrounding all this, but no one wanted to cooperate. No one wanted to talk on the air, and no one was interested in I said, do you have a lawyer? No, we don't have a lawyer. You want a lawyer? Oh, no, we don't need a lawyer. So something's going on. I know, just from my life experience of the old fisherman here, I know, when how these things go from start to finish. I know the pattern, and I could tell something's fishy with this one. Okay, so they're getting this some kind of either fear or payments or what, but I know that these people are being silenced. They're being handled by someone. There's no doubt in my mind. And there's a lot of accurate, real reporting out there that Mr. Schiff, what's his first name? Adam Schiff, the one who's running this impeachment stuff, right?